Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Debate Diaries, where we explore both sides of the questions that shape how we live, think, and connect. You can learn English through debate stories, but here, debates aren't battles. They're reflections, the kind that make you pause and think, yeah, that's true. Today's question feels big, complicated, and surprisingly personal. It's one of those topics that shows up everywhere, in classrooms, in the news, and on every comment section online. The question is freedom of speech absolute? Or should it have limits? Let me start with a small story. A while ago, my friend posted a meme about a celebrity. Nothing too serious, just a silly joke. Within an hour, the comments exploded. Some people thought it was hilarious, others got offended, and soon the post turned into a battlefield of opinions. Someone said, "It's just humor, relax." Another replied, "This is disrespectful, take it down." My friend eventually deleted the post and sighed, "I didn't mean to offend anyone, I just wanted to make people laugh." That small moment made me think. We all say we value freedom of speech until someone's words hurt us. Then suddenly it feels more complicated. I started reading more about it for a school project, and wow, freedom of speech has always been one of humanity's most debated ideas. From philosophers like John Stuart Mill to revolutionaries and artists, everyone has tried to define what it really means. Is it the right to say anything we want, or the right to speak truth with responsibility? Let's start with one side. The idea that freedom of speech should be absolute. Imagine living in a world where every thought has to be approved before it's shared, where you're afraid to speak your mind, afraid to question what's wrong, afraid to tell the truth. That's not freedom, that's silence. History is full of people who changed the world with their words, and they weren't always popular for it. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. speaking about equality during a time of segregation. Think of Malala Yousafzai demanding education for girls even when it risked her life. Or Nelson Mandela, whose words inspired hope through years of imprisonment. If they didn't have the freedom to speak, maybe we wouldn't have the progress we celebrate today. Their words were dangerous, yes, but they were necessary. I read a quote once, "Freedom of speech is the oxygen of democracy. Without it, we can't breathe ideas, we can't question power, we can't grow." Even when words make us uncomfortable, they help us see new perspectives. They challenge us to think, to debate, to evolve. That's the beauty of free speech. It's messy, but it's alive. But here's the other side. Words aren't just sounds or letters. They have power. They can heal, but they can also harm. Let me tell you another story. A few months ago, a viral video spread online accusing a local teacher of saying something offensive in class. Within hours, people were commenting, sharing, and judging without checking the facts. It turned out the clip was edited out of context. But by the time the truth came out, her reputation was already damaged. She had to take time off work because of the stress. Some people never apologized. That day, I realized something. Freedom of speech isn't only about what we say. It's also about what happens after we say it. When speech spreads lies, hate, or pain, it doesn't just express, it impacts. In many countries, there are already limits. Things like hate speech laws or rules against inciting violence. Some people argue these laws protect dignity and safety. Others believe they restrict our right to think and speak freely. And honestly, both sides have a point. Because yes, we want freedom, but we also want kindness. We want honesty, but also safety. And balancing those two isn't easy, especially in the age of social media. Online, everyone has a microphone. One comment can reach 1 million people in seconds. That's power, but it's also responsibility. My teacher once said something that stuck with me. Freedom of speech gives you the right to speak, but it also gives others the right to respond. That's what we often forget. Having freedom doesn't mean speaking without consequences. It means understanding that your words live beyond you. They travel, echo, influence, sometimes in ways you never expected. Imagine fire. When controlled, it gives light and warmth. But when it spreads without care, it burns everything in its path. Speech can be like that too. Let's look at it another way. In some universities, there's a debate about creating safe spaces. Some believe they're essential, that students should be protected from harmful or offensive speech. Others argue that education needs discomfort, that growth comes from hearing views we might disagree with. Both sides value something important: safety and truth. The real challenge is finding balance, protecting people from harm while protecting ideas from silence. Because if we censor too much, we lose creativity and honesty. But if we say anything without care, we risk hurting the very people we want to understand. Here's another story. During an online debate club I joined, someone made a controversial statement about religion. Half the group got angry, the chat blew up, and it almost ended the session. But then our moderator stepped in and said calmly, "Let's not attack, let's ask." Instead of shutting the person down, we started asking why they thought that way. And slowly, the conversation shifted from conflict to curiosity. That moment showed me what real freedom of speech looks like. Not shouting louder, but listening deeper. So, is freedom of speech absolute? After all these stories, I don't think there's one simple answer. But maybe it's like this. Freedom of speech should be as free as possible, but never careless. Because true freedom isn't about saying whatever we want. It's about saying what matters in ways that make the world better, not smaller. We can't build walls around speech, but we can build wisdom within it. And maybe that's what real freedom looks like. Not speaking louder, but speaking wiser. So the next time you post, comment, or even argue online, pause for a second and ask yourself, am I using my freedom to express or to harm? Because the future of free speech won't be decided by governments or courts. It's being decided by us, right now, in every word we choose. You've just listened to Debate Diaries, where every topic has two sides and every side has a story. If this episode made you think, smile, or reflect a little bit, I'd love for you to stay for the next one. because every story deserves to be heard and every question deserves to be felt. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and stay kind to yourself, to others, and to the little world glowing inside your screen.